I hope it's going to be a really interesting day. As you know, it's the first time we've done this. We've had in the past afternoon sessions where we've had the senior management team, their direct reports, we've put about 20 or 30 people together in a room and discussed issues. But we thought, really, you are the movers and shakers. You are the doers, you are the thinkers, you are the people that can make things happen on the ground, and bring you all together today to try and help you understand where we want to take the business, to understand your part in how we take the business forwards, a really important thing for us to do. So it's the first conference. It's not going to be the last, but it's an embryonic thing we're embarking upon, because I don't know whether today is going to be a huge success or not. But what we really do want from you from today is your feedback, because we want the conference to be something that adds value to your life, something that helps you go away and do your job better. So really we set out some aims for today. First, to share some information with you on where we are and where we're going. That's very important, I think, that you hear it from me. But also, isn't it great to have a day away from the workplace? You know, we get so engrossed in the day-to-day part of our business, we don't often have time to step back and think, to relax, to talk to people we don't see very often. And the great interaction that's going on outside there, that's part and parcel of what today's about as well. Stepping back from those pressures, hoping that we're going to start thinking a little bit more strategically about things. And actually, the more time we can find away from the day-to-day work to think about things more strategically, hopefully that makes the day-to-day work go more smoothly. And that's what one of the guest speakers is going to be talking about later. And I think also today should be about challenging you to a certain extent. So I hope during the course of the day, you'll be pushed to think about things perhaps in a slightly different way. As with all of these days, we need to position where we are now. And so I'm just going to make a few comments about what for me has been the highlights or the lowlights or whatever from the last year. As always, you know, many of us get judged on our financial performance. And this year's been a very successful year financially for HAS. HAS Trading has a surplus budget target this year of £12.6 million. We are going to beat that by at least £1 million. And that, again, is down to the efforts of the people in this room. I don't do that. The senior management don't do that. We all contribute to that overachievement of budget. So thank you for your part in that. I think also at a very senior level, we've been challenged to think very retrospectively, introspectively about where HAS is through the VC review process. Every school, every part of corporate services, every 5 years goes through a VC review. Our review is chaired by John Heath, Pro Vice Chancellor of Estates and Infrastructure. John's coming along after me to talk to you about what he learned about HAS during the course of that review process, and where he thinks perhaps we should be devoting a bit more of our effort going forward. How many awards have we won in the last year? Hands up if your department's won an award in the last year. About a quarter of the people. Actually, I think if you went through, we've won at least 20 awards in the last year for our environmental work, for the quality of our catering teams and all those other bits and pieces. We keep on winning awards year in, year out. I think at the Bucks Sports Awards, we've got 4 nominations shortlisted, haven't we, for, when's that, a couple of weeks' time? July. We've created celebrities this year. Hands up if you've been to the Houses of Parliament this year. Tracy. Hands up if you starred in a Renault's van advert, Monica. So we're getting out and about. We are getting our profile noticed. But like every year for HAS, it just seems always to be incredibly busy. And I could have listed 20, 30 things that we've done this year over and above the normal things that we do. Just less than a year ago, we had a Chancellor's installation in the Bramall. When you think about the huge team effort that went into that across the university, but the huge part played by members of HAS team in making that a success, it's fantastic. Fran and her team have created a new mobile site for Venue Birmingham. That's a huge piece of work. The conference park. We're going to come on to the conference park's future later on, but staggeringly, I think this is going to be our record year ever for bed nights, 26,500 bed nights. And just 2 years ago, if I remember right, we were only doing 19,000, weren't we? So 19,000 to 26,000 through a different approach, through some very proactive decisions that we've made to move that business forward quite dramatically and hopefully put in a good place for the next big decision on the conference park, which I'll come back to later. The conference business as a whole has grown. You know, Winterbourne derives a huge amount of revenue from this building, from the meeting rooms, and that's grown. On campus, we've seen more big events. For British Science Festival, we've had more dinners in the Great Hall. So every part of our business has grown. But probably all of you could point to something that you've done over and beyond the norm. So, for example, Leslie's team have created the new Global Community Residence at Pritchard's Park. Each of you has probably done something that could go on this list, haven't you? And that just shows that we have capacity, we have capability, we have enthusiasm, we have vision. But what today's about is hopefully giving you space to think about those things a bit more than you would normally have, to talk to people who can perhaps play a part in helping you move your business forward in a slightly different and slightly better way. That's looking back at the last year, but really, I can't spend too much of my time looking back, and I have to spend most of my time looking forward. And looking forward to what's going to happen, I'm going to take you through that in a short while. It's really about making sure that we've got the right structures and the right developments to take HAS forward to meet all the challenges and aspirations we have for the next 3 to 5 year period. The university, as you know, has a capital framework period of 5 years. We're just coming to the end of that one period now. We're now into the next period of 5 years of capital programming, and there are some big HAS projects in that. And we really need to start planning for that, not just in terms of putting a building up, but what service we deliver from that building, how we make profit from that building. And so actually I think, looking back on my 6 years here, it's been very challenging. The truth is the challenge is never going to get any easier. Change is just going to happen. That's what life is like these days, and we need to be reactive, proactive, and prepared to commit to making change. So what have we got coming soon? Wow. The next big thing to hit us, 720 beds. It says September. Let's hope it's not October, because that would be a big problem. 720 beds opening on the Vale, taking our estate from 4,200 to 5,000 beds. You know, Leslie and I wrote an accommodation strategy back in 2012. We said we needed to build more beds to cater for the guarantee scheme that we've got for first-year home and international students. And this was almost the last piece in that jigsaw. So this should get us to a point where we don't need any third-party beds anymore. Actually, we're contracting in 950 third-party beds. In 3 years, what was the norm in 2012 is now 1,000 beds less than what we need in 2015. That's how fast things change in this environment. So now we've got to put forward the next phase of a strategy that somehow gets us another 1,000 beds more than we thought we needed back in 2012. That's the artist's impression of how it's going to look when it's finished in September, if we're lucky. I think actually, I mean, Leslie can talk far more kind of informedly than me. So we've got these three, we've called the fingers, that they're pretty much guaranteed to be there. And the big tower, there may be some external work still to do. There may be some social space in there that's not quite finished. But actually, we want students in the rooms. Otherwise, the problem is just too difficult to contemplate. We had it. We had that problem 2 years ago with the of Jarrett being handed over late. We really don't want to go through that again. I think the good news is 2 years ago with Jarrett, we were working with Miller Homes. As a contractor, the relationship wasn't great. I think we've got Balfour Beatty on this project, with whom we've got an excellent working relationship. They really understand our problems. They're desperate to try and make sure they don't let us down. Some of us went to the topping out ceremony a few weeks ago. That's the view from the top of the new tower. Isn't that fantastic? You know what staggered me about this view when I went up there? You listen to architects when they come up with all these various schemes about it'll do this, it'll do that. I don't think anyone at ground floor level really gets the architectural nature of what Mason Hall was when it went in. So actually you don't understand what the architect was trying to do for Mason until you go and stand on the top of Chamberlain. And that's something architects need to just kind of get in their heads. But that's a fantastic view of Mason all the way through to the clock tower. This is actually on the Birmingham Post's Best Views in Birmingham photograph competition, which you can go and vote for. It's currently number 2.
Oh, it was number 1.
No, it's number 2. There's a view from there's a view from Frankley looking over the new hospital, which actually is a bloody good view, I have to be honest. Because we can't get the hospital in here. I suppose we could have got the hospital in, but never mind. 720 beds in September. That's 720 students to serve, reception staff, night staff, all the other bits and pieces. Everything we're doing is creating more employment as well. That's what a student bedroom is going to look like. It's not all bedrooms. There are some fantastic deluxe apartments in here. You know, 20th floor penthouse apartments. How much a week? £220 a week. What do you think is a waiting list? Is there, Tim? Because we're not just building an accommodation block. We're putting a new restaurant in there as well. We're calling it JC's. JC's at Chamberlain Tower. This is some work Nick and his team have been working on. This is a bit of the promotional material there. New Vale Village restaurant opening next term. It's being marketed to students. It's available to postgrads, undergrads. Even if you don't live on the Vale, you can go and use it. Meal plan will be accepted there. And it's very much, these are Nick's words, a cool place. Hands up if you think Nick Mander is cool.
That's my world, Stuart.
We're going for a different style of food again. I mean, the burrito bar has been a fantastic success. Tex-Mex is one of those in foods at the moment. So we're really making this a Tex-Mex theme. So it is different from what takes place at the hub. It's going to be basically cooked to order, delivered to the table, and as I said earlier, open to all. So that's one part of what's going on alongside Chamberlain Tower to try and cater for those extra 720 students. But at the same time, if you think the Vale's going from 2,800 students to 3,500 students, that's 25% more people on the Vale. So we're increasing the size of the Cost Cutter supermarket on the Vale as well to try and make sure we can capture the business and give a great level of service. That's an internal plan of what it looks like, some artists' impressions of what that will look like, and of course, most importantly from a student's perspective, there'll be a nice big beer and wine section. And I think this is something we've wanted to do for a long period of time, is to refresh Cost Cutter there, and this is a fantastic opportunity, just the right time to do these kinds of things. So it's not just about building a tower block or building 720 beds. There are other things that have to be done at the same time to make sure what we're delivering as a product is the best it can be. So we've got 720 beds coming on this September. We're opening our first cafe off campus later this year in the Institute of Translational Medicine, which is part of the hospital environment. And that's something we're doing in collaboration with our own medical school and the NHS. We're all partners in this building and this enterprise. It's a 5-storey building. On the ground floor there will be a cafe, and this cafe has to do breakfast, has to do lunch, has to do early evening meals. So it's quite a variety of food offers it has to do. Opening in August. It's been called the Meeting Point, and this is the actual photograph
Artistic impression
of how it's going to look. Opening in August, our first cafe off campus. Not going to be our last. Because if we want to drive revenue, we can only do so much within the boundary of the university, but actually outside the university, what else is that we could do? We know we could operate day nurseries outside of the boundary of the university. If we can operate Costa Coffee and Starbucks on campus, why can't we offer a Costa or a Starbucks on Selly Oak High Street, for example? These are things we're constantly thinking about going forward. The Vale, ITM. Oh, the Vale's 47 million. Sport is 55 million. You know, these are huge investments that we're making in the parts of the business that we look after. So building work started, amazingly, almost 1.25 years ago now. We're over halfway, I hope. 2/3. There'll be a time when the builder will hand it back to us, and then there'll be a time where we need to work in the building to get it ready to open to the general public. I wouldn't read too much into those timetables at the moment. They may move. But it's not critical. It's not like the Vale, whereas if we haven't got the bedrooms on the 15th of September, we've got a problem. If the sports centre's a month late, frankly, it doesn't really matter that much. What matters is when we open the doors of that sports centre, we are giving a great quality product and service to people that walk through that door. We are dependent on 3,000 non-university members to justify the business case of this sports centre. So when they come through the door the first time, we've got to get it right. We've got to think differently about the level of customer service we can deliver then to what we're doing now. The customer will be different. The customer will be more demanding. The customer will be paying a lot more. We need to retain that customer. We have competition for that customer. You've got the Priory at one end of the spectrum in some ways, and then you've got all the sports clubs and health clubs throughout the city, all competing for that person's money. You know what's going to be in there: 50-metre pool, some nice squash courts for Zine to go and play in.
Nick goes.
The top left is, top right, this is reception, and actually, as Ian and I were talking about, this is actually a huge space, but above reception, this is a climbing wall. So people can actually be climbing in there. And in the sports hall, we will be hosting big events, because the sports hall will have seating for 900 people. So when we talk about events, you'll see later on what we need to do to make sure when we have an event on there, we can sell 900 seats. That's how the building looks at the moment. So you can see it's coming on pretty well. This is the Gilder students here. Edgbaston Park Road's here. Sorry, the Bristol Road's here. Edgbaston Park Road down there. So it's coming on apace. This project has been challenging, you know. Challenging when I arrived here. The university had no intention of spending £55 million on a sports centre, but Zena and I managed to persuade them it was the right thing to do. It has a multi-storey car park as part of this project. We've had to fight very hard to get the university to understand how the university's car parking structures need to work for the sports centre and the university. So this car park here will be the university's short stay car park. We're actually starting to differentiate how we park cars around campus. Huge amount of signage to go in as part of that project as well. But we've not just been building a new sports centre. We've entered a team in the National Badminton League. This was a televised event on Sky TV where we put a badminton court in the Great Hall, went out live on Sky TV for 2 hours back in December. This is something we will do more of going forward. We'll have a Super League badminton team. We've got a Premier League squash team. We're talking about getting a netball Super League team coming to here as well. When you think about that sports hall with 900 seats, we've got those three teams in televised events. It's really going to raise our profile quite dramatically. And of course, no sports complex would be finished without a cafe. And so we're putting our second full-blown Costa store in the new sports centre. That's how it looks at the moment. This is probably going to exceed in sales terms the £20,000 a week plus we're doing from the Costa and University Centre. This is going to be big. And if you think about the new Costa University Centre, what it taught us, and I mean myself and the senior management team, is that we're very good at getting things that function well, getting that bit right. But actually, the quality of the interior design that Costa threw into that store, if you go downstairs, is at a level beyond anything we'd ever done here before. And so our level of interior design needs to step up in everything we do going forward. So much so that I have now worked with procurement to have an interior designer framework agreement, so we have interior design companies we can just go straight to help us with these kinds of things. And when we tendered the conference hotel business, we were clear with the architects, we didn't want a building, we wanted more than a building, we wanted something that was going to wow people. So that's now in place as well for you. There's also outdoor seating here as well, which will make a huge difference. So, 720 beds on the Vale, ITM Cafe, new sports centre, what else is there? The new library. And again, no library in this day and age could possibly function successfully without a cafe, could it? And that's the artist's impression of how the library cafe is going to look. And it is going to be a fantastic, fantastic environment, we hope. Again, taking the level of interior design to a level beyond where we currently are. That's really, really important about all of these things. Our students have aspirations and expectations. We've got to meet and exceed those aspirations and expectations. And the new library cafe has to be one of those places in which we do it. Because that building is a statement building for the university, isn't it? You know, this is where we are in the 21st century as a modern university. This building says something about us culturally. It's the Vale, Cafe ITM, Sports Centre, Library, Grange Road. That's the artist's impression of the Grange Road development we're currently planning, which will open in September 2017, all being well. So what we have: student accommodation in these back buildings, 178 beds thereabouts. And at the front of the building, the sports pavilion facility for the Bournebrook pitches. So on the ground floor here, as you walk into main campus from Selly Oak, you will go past the front doors of a Starbucks cafe. Fantastic, yes. 13,000 people a day walk in and out of campus that way. If we capture 5% of those people, that's probably more than we can cope with in terms of volume. So on the ground floor we have a cafe, and behind the cafe we have all the changing rooms for all the pitches there, and on the first floor we're creating a proper sports bar. So after matches, teams who've played rugby, hockey, whatever is going on down there can go, get changed, then go upstairs, have a pint with their teammates, with the opposition, have a pie, and hopefully generate some very nice revenue, but also help us give that rounded experience to students and also to external sports clubs that will use this facility as well. It needs to feel like their clubhouse. That's what it's intended to do. Anything else? Gosh. We're doing all of those things in the next couple of years. And I have to tell you, plans are progressing to really get to the final detail of what our new conference and hotel facility is going to look like. And within the university's strategic capital programme for the next 5 years, £30 million is being put aside for this project. That's an artist's impression of how it might look like. We're working with the architects at the moment. This is the back of Hornton Grange. The conservatory's been knocked down to open the space up, and a new accommodation block's gone up here, and this is the conference hotel reception, dining room, meeting rooms, and all the rest of it. So, a huge amount going on, isn't there? And we can't just kind of absorb all of that into the structures that we've got now, because that's just not possible. You know, there's more accounting to be done, there's more people to look after from an HR perspective, there's more things to be marketed and sold. We need to kind of address those kinds of issues. So in addition to Sophia, we've changed the HAS marketing structure. We have a new HAS marketing, head of marketing, starting in August, a lady called Milena Stanley, and she'll be desperate to come and talk to all of you, I'm sure, at some stage. Milena actually joined us a couple of weeks ago for the university-wide marketing conference, so some of you will already have met her. We've also got a new HAS HR manager joining us in August, but actually she's here today. Sam, where are you?
Please come and introduce yourself if you get the opportunity. I'm never going to remember everything.
I think this is something that you've all felt as though you wanted as part of helping you do your job better, some greater HR support, because we felt at some stages that we were getting a bit stretched. So with all the extra people we're going to bring into the business and all the issues that we have around HR, we've strengthened that team to help you go forward. We're also appointing a HAS change manager. This is part of a wider university initiative to manage change better. And this is very, very timely, because the one thing that's happening that some of you will be aware of is something called New Core. New Core is a process through which the university is going to replace its financial and HR systems. So it's not just about putting one financial system in place for another system. It's actually about saying, with a new financial system going in, how do we then change processes so that we're far more efficient, we free people's time up to do things that are far more important than push paper around. That's a huge project. and this person is going to be critical to us making sure that we get the most out of the new core project. We've talked about growing the catering businesses, and Nick has to sit down now and try and make sure from a senior level he's got the right management team to run those businesses. And it's not just about more outlets here, but if you think about the sports centre, you think about the library, what that does mean is we're going to be doing more weekend business. We're going to be doing longer days, and therefore we have to have a team at the senior level and below that can support that slightly different profile of the work that we do. And we're going to have loads more things to sell. So when Milena comes in and she's settled herself in, one of the things she'll have to do is think about how we strengthen and grow the HAS sales team to deliver all the extra income that we're hoping to deliver as part of this process. So why are we doing this? We're doing it because we need to do it. We need to do it to help you to manage your business as effectively as possible. It's not about standing still, it's about growing business. We need people to help us grow our business going forward. Whether that means a third day nursery, I don't know, but we've got to move this forward. We can't stand still. But I think also, and John will probably touch on this from his findings from the HAS review, I think we still have some way to go before we can feel happy that we're really helping you deliver your personal potential. Succession planning, personal development plans. I think these are things we need to do better, and Sam and her colleagues will play a huge part in that. And I think also we need to invest more in our staff. I know we've got the red carpet programme, it's got to a certain point. Actually, the aspiration has to be moving now far beyond where we're currently at. It's only through successful teams that we will deliver all the quality of product, service and profitability that we aim to do. So that's what we're trying to do in terms of forward thinking. So in terms of my aspirations for today, it's that you'll go away from here feeling better informed about where we are and where we're going. That's what the last half hour has been about to a certain extent. That you'll have had a chance to think about some of these things, either during the sessions or over lunch and the refreshment breaks we've got. Start talking about some of the things that you've heard today. Come and question me, question Nick, question Leslie, whoever you want to, about what you've heard. But I also hope that you take today as the first conference, and that the second conference should be more the kind of conference that you want it to be. What is it that you want to know more about? Who is it within the university who's doing things that you want to hear about? It'd be really great, I think, next time for the Director of Finance or someone to come along and talk about where the new core project's got up to, because they'll talk far more informedly about that kind of process than I, because I'm going to be giving it second hand. I think there's some people out there who've got some very important things that they're doing that you'd really benefit from hearing. So who is it you want to hear from? So before I pass on, I'd just like to say a big thank you to everyone who's helped put today together. I think Michelle and Cheryl came along with this concept 3 or 4 months ago, and they've run with it and they've done a fantastic job, so thank you to them, but thank you to everyone who's taken part today.